I feel like my ability to learn myself was a lot, a lot more of a necessity. And so I had no choice but to overcome. And I found out a lot of things I liked about myself, found out a whole lot of things I don't like about myself. And same with people. I found out a lot of things that I like to look for in people, friendship-wise and stuff like that, business-wise. And a lot of things that I've learned to see past and see through that probably aren't going to be the best benefit for me. Yeah, my life has just gotten, I wouldn't say it's gotten easier, but I'd say it's gotten a lot better.
But that's kind of profound to learn yourself. What does that even mean?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. What does it mean? I don't know. I feel like learning yourself is something that you don't really know what it means until
You do it.
you do it. Yeah, until it happens and you start realizing like, oh man, like I thought this way my whole life and I thought this was right, and then now you start thinking like, oh, this maybe I should do this differently or something. I think that's the only way that you can really even know if it's happening is once you start looking introspectively and going through some things that actually make you look introspectively, not just, oh, I want to get better, or a lot of people these days use like self-healing or healing. It's like, well, eventually you go through something and you have no choice but to figure it out. And when that happens, that's when you start really learning yourself.
Yeah.
A strong mindset's the only thing that's going to keep you going.
Yeah. And there is so many people who have disability, but it doesn't necessarily need to be like a physical disability. And I feel like that some of you guys are so strong-willed that you feel like you're growing in the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're not diminishing yourself or
Yeah,
thinking.
no, not at all. You don't have the mindset, you're not gonna get nothing done. No matter how you view it. If you can't think past your own problems, then you're not gonna be able to make it past any of them. I got shot in a home invasion. Yeah, so someone broke in our house in the middle of the night. I got shot. How's my mind improved since being shot? Man, dude, understanding of myself mainly. After being in the wheelchair, kind of you feel a little lost for a while because everything that you know about yourself, all your habits, all your old insecurities that you got over as you got older, because I was 25 when I got shot, so all the little things that bothered me when I was a kid I got over. Now you have all these new insecurities you got to figure out and manage.
So I'm thinking about my mistakes or getting the short end of the stick so bad that you're sleepless for months and really didn't know how to figure this out.
Yeah.
That was like the latest one was 2017 for me.
Okay.
When my kind of like my reason to exist here in the US came to a halt. Like in my mind,
Yeah.
I couldn't see a reason to exist anymore. I don't say I was suicidal, but I told my wife that this looks like shit, maybe we need to move home to Sweden or something.
Yeah.
And she said like hell no, you better go and figure it out. I don't say it's not near the same as you,
Yeah.
but it's like the similar feeling, like similar feeling, but a little bit the same thing is happening, where you have to take your hardest lessons and then over time you turn them into strengths.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
because of that learning lesson, I'm doubling down now on what's important in my life so much harder. If I didn't have that learning lesson that I hated,
You may not have worked as hard.
I wouldn't work
had
this
that
hard to
little kick in your ass.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like we often say like, good times create lazy people
Yeah.
and bad times,
Create tough people.
and tough times create tough people.
That's this one, the click one. Yeah, without this belt, I don't have any leg drive. So without the belt, my waist would just slide right off the bench with certain weights. It's kind of how I feel. Like how you said, it's not exactly the same. I kind of look at it like, being paralyzed is pretty big. It's a huge change because it's not something I can ever just like shake off.
Yeah.
But everybody's situation is their situation,
Yeah.
So what affects some people, I know a lot of people that are in wheelchairs who have not taken it as well as I have, and they're 15, 20 years in and they're still having lots of problems. So everyone's situation is their situation. There could be somebody that could just their dog could die.
Yeah.
That could be the absolute end of the world, and that could be in their mind just as bad as my situation I'm in.
Yeah.
And so I never take anybody's what they go through as a comparison to what I go through.
Exactly.
I try to keep it as face value and understand that, all right, what they're going through is what they're going through, and maybe I might not handle it the same way. There's lots of people who wouldn't handle what I handle the same way. I'm gonna go to the seated shoulder press. I like this one just because the angle of it. It's not so direct up and down, so it's a little bit easier on my shoulders.
And just my experience as I was young, I've been growing up on Sweden's biggest mental hospital on the premises of that.
Oh, really?
And also been working there with people from all walks of life, with all kinds of that was sick,
Yeah.
and they were not in a wheelchair, any of them.
Yeah.
And that was pretty tough for them, So I definitely feel like we can't compare.
Yeah.
But I think we can kind of like use the negative to something positive.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly. Yeah, I do too. If you can't learn from the bad things and keep on moving forward, then you're gonna get stuck.
Yeah.
And bad things are gonna happen in life. You
Yeah.
can't get around it. It happens.
Yeah.
You just gotta take it in stride and keep on moving.
Yeah. Do you have any aspects of your life where you feel like, yeah, I feel pretty good? I assume you do because you're positive. But do you feel like, no, I have no disability, so to speak?
Yeah, me and James were actually talking about this the other day. Like, when is it like that one time that we're doing something we forget about the wheelchair?
Exactly.
And it's when I'm
Because
in
I
the gym.
think the wheelchair can sometimes be a crutch.
Yeah, it can. It can throw you off. I could wake up in the morning and feel great and then be like, fuck, I gotta get in this wheelchair to just go to the bathroom real quick. I'm just trying to come back to bed.
Yeah.
And but when I'm in the gym, I forget about it. When I have a lot of weight above me, like say I'm bench pressing or something with a lot of weight, that's when I forget about it, because I'm doing something that I did before the wheelchair, and I'm doing something that a lot of people can't do. So you kind of get blind. And then driving, I drive a lot.
Yeah.
And even though I'm using hand controls, I think at this point it's so natural for me to use the hand controls.
Yeah.
I completely forget about the wheel. A lot of times I drive across country a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll be in like middle of West Texas or something, New Mexico, and I'll go to get out the car and I open the door and go to get out and I'm like, oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Little detail.
Uh-huh.
But do you have like moments where you also feel like where you are in the wheelchair, or you're aware about it, but you still feel I have no disability?
I try to, like I said, I work on cars a lot. And doing that, it takes a lot of work being in the wheelchair, and that's one thing to like when I do big front end jobs on big trucks and stuff like that, or if we're swapping an engine or a transmission or something, and I get it done, I'm like, all right, this wheelchair ain't stopping shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is I can do it all. Like, this wheelchair ain't slowing nothing down.
Yeah.
And it may turn the job from a 3-hour job to a 4-hour job, but being able to continuously do the things that I did before in the wheelchair at a better and efficient rate than a lot of people can, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. I mean, that's all there is to it. I had a buddy who was living with me for a few weeks. He was in transition between houses.
Yeah.
I woke him up one day and I was like, yo, let's go to the gym. And the next day he was like, yeah, man, I didn't really want to go. I was so tired, but he's like, I see you doing all this in the house. He's like, I got my legs still. And me and him grew up together since we were like 9. So he was like, man, I got my legs still. And I see you just outworking me in every aspect in the wheelchair. Like, you're waking up earlier, you're doing more in the house, you're cleaning everything, you're not asking for help. He's like, and I'm just like not waking up on time. I don't want to go to the gym. He was like, it's really making me work harder. Like, that type of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like, all right, I'm doing something.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
really doing
you're
something.
leading from the front.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing I was thinking about, that it feels like you are doing,
Yeah, I've always kind of felt like a leader, and in this space, I definitely try to maintain myself as a leader, because I mean, there's not a lot of people who do in this space. There are, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not.
and we always, it's always good to try to be a role model, first and foremost for ourselves, and then for others.
Yeah, for the people who are looking at me that I don't even know are looking at me.
Exactly.
There's always somebody watching.
Yeah.
You just don't know who.
And that's why I feel like, regardless if people have legs or not, like in this case, I feel like everybody needs a dose of this,
Yes. For sure.
And I think we shouldn't focus so much on the wheelchair. We should just, lift our eyes up and then focus on the inspiration of ourselves and others.
And the way that people are thinking, because it doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, if you're not in a wheelchair, if you have something wrong with you, if you don't, your thought process is not based off of that. Your thought process is just based off of your thought process. So I know plenty of people who have great lives and are very, very sad.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who have very, very hard lives and very, very happy. I have a couple friends who are quadriplegics and full electric chairs, and I know that their life is probably a lot more difficult for them than it is for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, they don't let nothing get them down.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep as much tension on there as possible with the different movements. Doing them together with the curl, with the camber bar, it allows me to stretch out my tricep all the way down deep so I can really pull it back. And then the light dumbbells allows me to really force the blood in there so they can grow. Because, your arms aren't big muscles. Your triceps and biceps aren't real big muscles. So you want to make sure that the blood you're putting in there isn't to an extreme of weight to where you're tearing the muscle, but enough to pump it up hard to really grow it. Because it hurts. It definitely hurts. But when my eyes close and they reopen, that's me just trying to close them, dial in, and block out that pain that's about to come. Because I know the next 4 or 5 reps are going to hurt a little bit. No pain, no gain. Let's get back into it.
I have a lot of friends who are very, very happy, very positive, and it's all about the mindset when it comes down to it. It's not about wheelchair, not wheelchair, trying to inspire you because I'm in a wheelchair doing something. I just want people to understand that it's about the way you think, no matter who you are.
And exactly, and that's why, setting the tone for what I feel like you could contribute in our team.
Yeah.
Wheelchair or not. So I feel like, contribute with that no excuses mentality.
Exactly.
And people don't even need to see if there is wheels or not.
Yeah.
I was super curious to follow you around a little bit in the gym. I didn't have as much time.
Yeah.
But to get that on video and then put it together,
cool.
so people can see how it is to take a 45 plate and stretch it out sideways like this, put it on the machine.
It's not easy.
After you've done a lot of lifting,
Yeah, that's what I don't think people think about that. My friends are always like, "Why are you at the gym for 3 hours?" I'm like, dude, hour and a half is me loading and unloading plates. If I had someone with me, I'd probably be there an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not scared to ask people for help.
Yeah, and I think that's...
yeah, definitely not scared to do that.
Yeah.
How did you, can we expand on that just real quick?
Yeah, guys do not like to ask for help, ever. When I got in the wheelchair, I was big on, I don't need help, I don't need help, I don't need help, I got this. Just because I'm paralyzed now doesn't mean I need you babying me.
I think it is that you're like a true leader.
Yeah.
And a true leader is not afraid of asking for help. You're vulnerable with yourself, so you're vulnerable with yourself, and if you are that, it gets easier to ask someone for help. It's easier to maybe cry a little tear here and there.
Yeah.
It's easier to be real with people.
I would agree with that.
And you feel like what's fair.
No, I completely agree with that. I think that's a very good looking insight on me.
Yeah.
I would say that's a very good insight on me.
Because that's how you get stuff done.
Like I said earlier, it takes a team to go far. If I want to get stuff done efficiently in a grand scheme of things, it's going to take more than just me. Maybe I could do it alone, maybe.
Yeah.
But would it last? Am I going to overwork myself? So asking people for help in the gym it was a big step, it was. But the hard times definitely make you realize what you're not doing and what you need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring to think about this from your perspective and what you've been through. And my perspective and everybody else's perspective is kind of like listening on a thing like this.
Yeah, it's very nice to hear someone with a perspective in on me like how you do, because a lot of people have different perspectives, and I've noticed this kind of in America, really. When you're in a wheelchair, you look down on a lot more than a lot of other countries. A lot of other countries are just kind of a dude in a wheelchair, and people are like, okay, yeah, but here it's more like, oh, do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? And a lot of people in wheelchairs don't need help. I get asked almost every single time when I go to the grocery store, when I'm getting out the car, do you need help? I'm like, if I told you I needed help, would you even know how to put the wheels on this wheelchair? Like, you think I drove from my house to the grocery store and thought, man, when I get there, I hope there's some stranger in the parking lot to help me out, get out of my car.
Yeah. But don't you think it's just like when I come from Sweden? In Sweden we are literal, much more literal.
Yeah.
So when an American is asking a Swede, "How are you today, sir?" The Swede thinks we're asking how they feel.
Yeah, not
Just howdy, you know. And I think maybe it's also a little bit American to show some goodwill, you know, to help out.
Yeah.
But in reality, you know, we have to see a little bit for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And not take it literal.
That's how I look at it. I'm like, if I needed help, trust me, I'm gonna ask you. But,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine if you are in Sweden and you don't ask.
Yeah, and then you're just
You're
stuck.
gonna be there.
Yeah, stuck.
Yeah, just having like a broader mindset that there is cultural differences.
Yeah.
You know, like we have our community of people coming in from all around the world.
Yeah.
It helps to see stuff from different angles.
Yes, it does.
And
Yes,
I
it
think,
does.
you know, by having you in the team together with other people from other countries and other cultures,
Yeah.
with their own experiences, I think it'll help us to be a little bit more complete in our thought process.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, you might learn a thing or two also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm an open book, so I'm definitely trying to learn some things while I'm here.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that can teach me a lot of good things about this sport too.
Yeah.
So.
And about life, I think.
Especially about life.
So, what was your take out from the weekend?
I was very surprised at how together it was, like how much like a family it felt like, how everyone seemed like they knew each other, everyone was laughing and smiling, conversation here and there.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see that it just wasn't some massive event with a bunch of strangers. There was a lot of people who kind of looked at each other the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connected.
Yeah, it looked like it's really fun. I enjoyed the competition. I really liked the dinner. Food was great.
Yeah.
Food was great. The breakfast was fun.
Yeah, we had 250 people here, but we actually served food for 500.
Really?
Yeah.
It's feeding bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were eating like crazy.
When I was in line, I was like looking at some of the bigger guys' plates. I was like, how much food can I put on my plate without looking like I have too much? And I saw some guys a lot of food. I was like, all right. I guess they know they're feeding bodybuilders, so we'll eat normal amount of food tonight.
Yeah, you don't have to be careful just
exactly.
to be nice, you know.
Exactly.
So how often do you train, you know, bicep, triceps, shoulder, chest, back?
I could train. I did at one point train 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday.
And how did you split it up then?
I was doing chest and triceps, lower back, upper back, and then shoulders, upper back, and then have biceps thrown in there, and then chest and shoulders and triceps. So just kind of splitting it up between going from the chest to lower back, working upper back, and then back towards chest. Just kind of keeping a revolving circle.
Okay.
Just to keep about a 2-day gap between the major muscles that I'm working out. I don't feel bad. I'm not the guy that feels bad for not going to the gym. Like, if I need to go to the gym, I'm going. But if I'm just like, all right, I'm too beat up. I got to give my upper body a break. I don't have
to rest. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I go home, I'm not the type of person who just sits on the sofa and watches TV. I'm go. So I'll come and I push myself around everywhere. And then I train, and then I go home and I'm still pushing around, so I'm still constantly working my upper body. Yeah,
just going in the car or something.
yeah, just getting in and out the car.
Yeah.
I'll pull in my driveway some days. I'll be in the car for 45 minutes just on Instagram listening to music.
Just trying to recover a little bit.
No, just looking at the wheelchair like, oh man, I do not want to put this together.
Yeah.
I just sit here and relax for a little bit. Yeah, it's a funny thing in our wheelchair community about that.
So one thing that when we talked before, I felt like it was a little bit, you know, it felt a little bit like, let's say, back in the old days when I started training back in '87. I felt like there was a huge gap between the advanced and those who are, you know, kind of like in the gym.
Yeah.
And as time progressed, it got more and more dense with people.
Yeah.
I feel like when you were describing the wheelchair community and those who are training, those who are in wheelchair, those who are training, and then a huge gap to those who are professional.
Yeah, there's a
It feels a little bit like '87.
Yeah, there's
because it was less people, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge gap. Actually, there's a girl that's in a wheelchair and one of my other buddies who's an NPC guy. They were talking to me this morning on Instagram about wanting to start a podcast about bridging the gap, about how like all the spread of like misinformation and fitness throughout the wheelchair community. Like, because a lot of people just say like, oh yeah, you know, you just need some bands at home to work out with and just, you know, kind of do these band exercises. Like, that is not true.
Yeah.
You want to go outside and you want to have a productive life and you want to be able to go push around the mall and go hang out with your friends. You got to have some muscle to you. You don't have to be huge and jacked, but male or female, bands aren't going to cut it in this lifestyle. You got to work out. You got to lift some weights. You have to make yourself strong and get some skeletal muscle mass to survive.
And imagine when you get older, like you need to prepare, you know, for
exactly.
how can you otherwise, you know, lift yourself from one place to another.
Yeah, do you want to be 50 years old and have someone completely take care of you, but you're able to take care of yourself?
Yeah.
But you're not physically able to transfer yourself anymore because you're not strong enough?
Yeah. That's what I see sometimes when, you know, some wheelchair people let themselves be pushed around too much.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Always
I don't
pushing,
have
always
handles.
pushing.
I don't have any handles on my wheelchair.
That's
No one can push
that's
me.
cool.
Yeah. I've noticed with people who have handles,
Yeah.
people will instinctually push you.
Yeah.
Like that you won't even know. Like I've been in the airport with people who have handlebars on their wheelchair, and strangers will come and push and be like, "Do you need help?"
Yeah.
But no one will come up to me and do it. But it's just something about having them behind you. People just want to grab them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
Yeah, and you get that help that if you are in a weak moment, maybe you just grab that help.
Yeah.
But it's actually help to something bad, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of like an important part to talk about.
Yeah.
To, you know, kind of like do the hard stuff and embrace the suck, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and life will get easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's definitely a huge gap between the people who are really working out and trying to survive in the strongest way possible compared to the people who are just baseline, like, oh, I went to the gym once last week and I missed this week, but I'll go next week. Like that might work for you if you're completely able-bodied still and you can walk around and you can stand up and sit down. You're gonna get pretty far in life, but being in a wheelchair, you're only gonna get a couple years, and then eventually you're not gonna be able to lift yourself up. You're not gonna be able to get out your chair into the car.
Yeah.
And
then you get completely depending on others, and
you get stuck at home. You get depressed.
Yeah.
You know, all sorts of terrible things start happening, and that's when your mind starts going. Even if you have a good mindset, going into it, you start not being able to take care of yourself. There goes your most powerful asset, your mindset.
Yeah. Like we started this discussion with,
exactly.
It was about the mind and not about the wheels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the wheels are just there. I am not a wheelchair. I'm just sitting on this thing. If I flopped over, I would fall right out of it. So I am, you know, I'm not a wheelchair. I'm just sitting on one. So my mindset is what controls everything else. Doesn't matter about these wheels that I'm sitting on.
Yeah, me and Nick was talking a little bit about no excuses mindset, you know, and has nothing to do with wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got people with wheels and no excuses, and we have people without wheels that has the excuses
Has
and no
plenty
excuses.
exactly.
You know, and we literally have people without wheels when it comes to maybe not so good legs. you
Yeah.
know.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little bit funny when it
Yeah.
just, you know, our whole philosophy is about living life to the fullest, and I don't think, you know, has nothing to do with if you have legs or not. Like if your mind can allow you, you know, you can use your mind and you can coach yourself to live life to the fullest, regardless of what kind of handicap or, you know, I hate to say handicap because
Yeah.
it becomes a little bit like.
Your
Uh,
excuse.
yeah, a little bit like a crutch and excuse, and that's a little bit exactly what I mean. Like, you know, take away the excuses,
Yeah.
and take away the excuses of having a wheelchair. Take away the excuses of, you know, whatever other thing you have in life that
Yeah.
restricts you,
Mhm.
and live life to the fullest.
Yeah, and do what you can.
Yeah.
Do as much as you can.
Yeah, and you can do more than you think you can if you
Yes.
just believe it. You know.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, that's what I want people to feel like. You know, with our talks here, that you know, get your shit together, get out and chase life.
Yeah, live.
Yeah, live life and make sure that you are doing something physical, and you're a little bit serious about it because you can't take it lightly.
Yeah. Straight up.
A little bit like you said, like, you know, bands will not cut it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Bands won't cut it. You got to put in the real work. It's a fun thing to do. It's a great life to live, but you got to put in the work to make it great.
Yeah.